Let's move on to Indiana on Saturday night. Indiana is 12-8, 4-5 in the Big Ten, but much like Penn State, their team is vastly different than it was last year. They're dealing with a lot of transfers and young players. They have struggled a bit. As of today, they've lost 4 of their last 5, but they play Iowa at home on Wednesday, in a game that they definitely could win. However, if you look at the stats, Indiana is the worst all-around team in the Big Ten. If you look at a chart of Big Ten teams in offensive versus defensive efficiency ratings, there are only 2 teams in that lower left quadrant, Penn State and then Indiana a little lower than us. So I know they have a tough road atmosphere and we struggle to win on the road, but Indiana is probably the worst team in the conference, and we should be going into this game with confidence. Looking at the matchups, Indiana's talented young star Malik Renault. It's a tough one to pronounce, man.
I had to look up the pronunciation guide for him the other day. I honestly already forget it, so I can't help you there. But
anyway, he's leading their team in scoring with 16.7 points per game, and then they have 7-foot Khalil Ware. He's an Oregon transfer. He's just a beast in the paint. Indiana plays with a lot of size. Their shortest starter is 6'4", and that could be a problem for our guards Ace Baldwin and Kanye Clary. Clary's not out there. It'll be DeMarco Dunn. Although if Clary's not out there, I could see Johnson starting over Dunn just to get that extra size in there.
Yeah, that could make some sense. I think. I mean,
I think we could see a little more of Kern and Johnson than Dunn O'Boyle.
Yes, I would. I think I would agree with that. I think another guy you mentioned. I think O'Boyle. I mean, we were mentioning kind of how he struggled at the end of Minnesota, but he's another guy that I think Penn State will probably have to rely on. I would say particularly in the Rutgers game, maybe not as much in the Indiana game, just because, as you mentioned, the size, that's not...
I think the Rutgers game is one where he could actually succeed. They're built a little more like Maryland, and he had an okay Maryland game.
Agreed.
I think if we're going to beat Indiana, we cannot, and I mean when I say cannot, we absolutely cannot let them get easy points in the paint, because it's what they want to do. They have the height advantage, all right? They're going to be looking for those easy points in the paint all day long. They're going to be looking for those post-ups, looking for those dunks, alley-oops, whatever. You just can't let that happen, whatever you can do. And you have to do it without fouling, right? This Penn State team has consistently fouled a lot against bigger teams.
Yes.
And you can't give Indiana tons of free throws because they're also a solid free throw shooting team. So I think to battle that, our guards are going to have to be super fast and active with their hands. Indiana does turn the ball over quite a bit. And so if we can create chaos with the press, make the bigger guys dribble, make the bigger guys move with the ball and try to fit tight passes into tight windows, I think we could get lots of turnovers in this game.
I think that's going to be the key. I think we know, obviously, the defensive menace that Ace Baldwin Jr. can be.
Yeah,
we know
he could have a huge game against Indiana.
Yeah. And, obviously we'll see about Kanye Clary, but if he's in the lineup, I mean, we know he's got the ability to knife and split through guys, even though he doesn't have the size, obviously, that he's going to be going up against on Saturday. He's got the speed to kill. And that's something he could take advantage of, the athleticism, and we've seen the athletic plays that Nick Kern has made this year. I mean, that's where I think Penn State, if they're going to beat Indiana, is going to have to beat them. That, to me, doesn't feel like a game where Kudus Ohabdi, Demetrius Lilly, the size down low, that doesn't, obviously they need to hold their own. They need to be solid. But that doesn't feel like a game where they can thrive. Their
production is going to be based on how well they rebound and how well they play defense. You're not going to look at them and they only had 4 points in this game. If they both have 10 rebounds, you'll be loving what they did.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, my prediction, Penn State 82, 76 Indiana. I might be regretting that one on Monday next week. We will see.